You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 171.2, our boys basketball scoreboard for Thursday, February 6th, 2025, with interviews with Lapel head coach Kevin Cherry, Frankton head coach Brent Brobston, Anderson Prep assistant coach Mike King, and Western head coach Cam Bennington.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Welcome, basketball fans, to our boys basketball scoreboard for Thursday, February 6th, 2025. Coming up, we will have reports and highlights from all of Thursday night's games around Central Indiana. And we have interviews with Lapel head coach Kevin Cherry, Frankton's Brent Brobston, Anderson Prep's Mike King, and Western's Cam Bennington. It is February 7th, 2025. It's a Friday, so it's another day for the Central Indiana Sports Report. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt, coming to you today once again from headquarters in Jeffersonville, doing my best to take care of a sick producer, Susie. We had nearly a full slate of boys basketball games on Thursday, which, of course, is very unusual, but it is girls sectional week. So quite a few games on Thursday night. Before we get to all of that, please go like, subscribe, or follow us. We are on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and YouTube. Just search Central Indiana Sports Report. We're easy to find. Please do it so you don't miss a single segment. We start today's boys basketball scoreboard at Alexandria, where 2A number 12 Lapel beat Alexandria 65-42 for the Bulldogs' 7th win in a row, their 9th win in their last 10 games, and their 2nd win over Alexandria this season. Lapel is now 13-5. They were led by senior Bodie Judge's 18 points. Senior Brody Judge had 12. Sophomore Owen Garber, 11. Sophomore Quade Hall and junior Luke Jones scored 8 points apiece, and junior Quinn Wilkins finished with 6. I talked with Lapel head coach Kevin Cherry about the way his team's been playing after Thursday night's win.
We are playing we still have room of improvement, but yeah, we're playing a nice style of basketball right now. I think in situations we played with good poise and composure and some thought about how we're trying to play and ultimately win a game. So I've been proud of our growth in that area of just, valuing possessions, not turning the ball over, and finding ways to win against, like you said, some really good opponents and really good coaches.
And on Thursday night, 6 different guys with at least 6 points. Gotta love seeing that.
Yeah, and tonight at Alexandria, Marty does such a good job, and we weren't going to go in there and just roll those guys again. I fully expected that to be a very competitive game, and it was. And to be honest, we didn't get off to a great start.
Right.
And we went back, we went to the bench, and it was the same cast of guys that kind of gave us a spark at Tipton that came off the bench with Quade Hall, Owen Garber, and Liam Coe, who's a freshman for us. But tonight Garber has 11 points.
Yeah.
In his minutes, and he's been a guy that he started for a couple games for us this season, and the kid just doesn't have an off switch. Every practice, if it's a walkthrough, if it's a regular Tuesday practice, he's just going 100%, playing as hard as he can, and that transfers to a game. And he's a guy that's hard to keep off the floor, and we look forward to having him not only the rest of this year, but 2 more years. He's going to be a really good player for us.
Really tough stretch here, 4 games in a row on the road. Coming up next week, you go to Taylor. That's not an easy one. And then to Shenandoah. So another tough week coming up next week.
Yep, that's kind of been the nature of this thing. But right now, at this point in the season for us, it's not. Yes, we want to win them all, and we talk about that every night. That's the goal, is to win. But ultimately, we're just continuing to improve. And like I said, we have things we have to clean up and get better at. And each one of these is kind of like a mini a mini quiz, if you will, ultimately leading up to that final exam, which is sectional week. So we're not getting too wrapped up in wins and losses, more so of the process of continuing to get better, being great in our execution and getting great defensively, and hopefully you make enough shots on those, at Taylor, out Shenandoah to pull out a win. But ultimately still need to get a lot better before we can try to go win a sectional.
Speaking of sectional, we didn't get a chance to talk after Wednesday's game, but big win over Tipton. Man, winning that sectional is not going to be easy, is it?
No, I'd say why. And it was great to catch up with Coach Hawkins. He's such a class act and somebody that's been doing it for a long time, and have a tremendous amount of respect for him and his program. Grady Carpenter is a very difficult guard. I mean,
Yeah.
wow. I don't know how. There's a lot of people in 2A that can try to guard that guy one-on-one. He's just so good with the basketball. He shot the ball. He hasn't been shooting it great, which I know is probably no secret to anybody, just if you look at max preps and percentages, but he's a better shooter than his percentages. And he got going Wednesday night, and he was you go out and close out and want to guard him out at the volleyball line, then he can drive around, and he's such a great passer that he really puts a lot of pressure on the defense. And I thought, going into that game, it was hopefully they'll miss enough threes and we can rebound it. And in a 1 or 2 possession ball game, we can make enough stops late and make a few shots to pull out a win over there. And that's kind of the way that played out. But yeah, that sectional draw is going to be extremely important. And it's exciting though, as a competitor. That's what you want to do, and that's the way a sectional should be. You should have to go earn it. And that's what whoever comes out of our sectional will have definitely earned it.
Frankton won its 4th game in a row Thursday night, beating 12-5 Tri 63-44 on the road. Frankton is now 8-8. Senior Joey Wright had 20 points, senior Brady Carmack 16, and senior Javon Miller 12 points in the win. Frankton hosts 13-3 Taylor on Saturday at 1:30. I spoke with Frankton head coach Brent Brobston about the win and the way his team's been playing in the recent stretch of wins.
Yeah, it was a good win for us, and that's a very good Tri team who has won some really good games this year. I mean, they're 12-4 in the season, and going into the game, we knew it would be a difficult test for us, so we were fortunate enough to come away with the win on the road.
A nice game tonight from your senior leaders.
Yeah, I thought so. Joey Wright played extremely well for us. Did a little bit of everything, scored the basketball, rebounded the basketball, passed the basketball, defended well, and really did about everything we could ask. And Carmack had a nice second half for us, and was in some foul trouble in the first half, but came back the second half, had a nice one there. And Javon Miller came in and played some really good minutes and had double figures for us as well.
It looks like maybe the schedule, the way it was put together by your genius of an AD, front loaded with a lot of good teams, and now you're kind of getting on a roll. Like the way this season's going at this point?
Yeah, I do. I mean, our schedule early in the season was very difficult, and we were battle tested in every way. But I think it made us who we are right now. And we needed those tests early in the season to make sure that we knew what we were doing wrong and how we were going to get better. And now we're hitting a stride and playing really well later in the season. And that's important headed into sectional time. So I think the strength of schedule has really paid off and helped us. And we're now starting to really, I think, play our best basketball.
Speaking of sectional time, big win on Saturday afternoon, a ranked sectional opponent coming to town.
Yeah, Taylor's just having an outstanding season. They're ranked 8th in the state. Going to be a really difficult test for us at home. So hoping we'll have a good crowd there to watch us and compete against one of the top teams in 2A. So
really talented trio they've got.
They do. Yeah, they definitely do. And they've Coach Winnell I've known for quite a while. We met each other back in the 2017 season when I was coaching for the state and he was coaching for the state title. We kind of got to know each other well then. So got a lot of respect for him. He's a really nice guy, and he does a really good job with this program. And they'll be really difficult. So It's for us another measuring stick here to see where we're at against a top 10 2A team in the rankings, and we get to do it here on our home floor.
Marion has back-to-back wins after a 7-game losing streak. The Giants beat Muncie Central 76-55 at home on Thursday night and are now 8-8 on the season. They were led by junior Tim Jones, who had 29 points in the win. Senior Mari Rogers finished with 16. Senior Tusi Jackson had 9, and freshman Manu Jackson finished with 7. Junior Jace Freshwater scored 6, and senior Kobe Johnson had 5 for Marion, which hosts 6 and 10 Fort Wayne Northrop Saturday at 1:30. For Muncie Central, it is their 4th straight loss. Those losses, of course, have come against Kokomo, Westfield, Greenfield Central, and Marion, so completely understandable, especially for such a young team. Junior Shamar Taylor finished with 16 points. Senior LJ Strange had 10 for the Bearcats. Also, junior Landon Wells and freshman Jackson Johnson had 8 apiece, and junior Terry Miles finished with 7. Freshman Carlos Eccles had 2 points and 7 assists. Central is at Anderson on Saturday, February 15th, in their next game. Of course, Anderson is ranked 4th in Class 4A. Grant Schaus of the Action Sports Network had a full report on Marion's win over Muncie Central. That's episode 171.7. It's been a busy day on the Central Indiana Sports Report after being a little bit limited the last week or so, making up for it today. Kokomo won 74-60 at Culver Academy. The Wildcats have won 4 of their last 5 and are now 14-5 on the year. They shot 56.5% in the win and made 11 of their 27 three-point attempts. Senior Zion Bellamy had 21 points. He made 4 of his 8 three-point attempts and also had 6 assists and 5 rebounds. Junior Barris Moore finished with 17 points. And freshman DJ Nash had 11 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. And junior Corbin Hamill and senior Adavian Young finished with 10 points apiece. Kokomo is out of the North Central Conference race, but has another North Central Conference game next Friday when it hosts 7 and 11 Richmond. Culver Academy is 9-6 and was led by senior Luke Pakes, 19 points. 4A number 4 Anderson won its 12th game in a row Thursday, 64-54 at Richmond. Anderson is now 16-1. Seniors Damian King and Titus Hunter led the way with 15 points apiece. Junior Colin Lewis had 13 points. Senior Javon Winfield finished with 10. And senior Aaron Morgan had 8 for the balanced Indians. Warfield also had 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 steals, and a blocked shot. Big game for the Indians coming up against 14-4 and 4A number 14 Noblesville, which beat Mount Vernon 50-46 on Thursday night. Of course, Mount Vernon is the only team to beat Anderson this year. That game is Tuesday. Anderson Prep won its 12th game of the year, 72-43 at Burris on Thursday night. The Jets have doubled their previous program record of 6 wins in a single season. They're now 12-5 and 2-2 in the Pioneer Conference. They shot 50% in the win and were led by senior Lincoln Fathauer's 24 points. Fathauer just went over 1,000 points for his career. But APA continues to get lots of contributions from lots of different players. Senior Zamarian Bryant had 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. Senior Marcus McLean had 14 points. And senior Cameron Anderson had 11 points, 8 assists, and 3 steals. Anderson Prep hosts 2 and 12 Knightstown on Tuesday. I spoke with Anderson Prep assistant coach Mike King following Thursday night's win. Well, Coach, another big win tonight. 12 wins on the season. I knew you guys knew you were going to be good, but to double your program record, you guys got to be pretty happy with where you are.
Yeah. We're really excited, because like we told the kids today, there are things that go along with being able to win, and one of those is building expectations. And this group, through their hard work, has really started to build expectations within our program about not only wins, but just trying to do things the right way. Try to get things done the way they should be, that kind of stuff. And we are excited. Obviously, we've still got some work to do, but we're certainly on the upswing.
And tonight came out and jumped right on top of them and really led throughout the game.
Yeah. Burris, their coach has really got them. They play hard. They really do play hard, and we were just lucky enough to hit some shots early and kind of get a lead, and then our goal was just to, like you said, jump on them and then just kind of force them to play our style.
And you had a lot of really nice performances tonight. Lincoln, your 1,000-point scorer, 24 points tonight. Talk a little bit about the process he's been through the last couple of weeks, coming toward 1,000 points and getting that, and the way he's been playing.
Yeah, we I think everybody is glad that he's there, of course, but there's pressure that young people kind of put on themselves, and I think he was putting a lot of pressure on himself to get to that milestone, and now that he's there, it's like, let's continue the work, and he's done a really good job with that, and we're lucky in as much as that we've got some kids that play some pretty significant minutes. And there's really not been any selfishness. There's not been any, by any of those kids. They're all like, we just want to win. We just want to do things the right way. And we want to win.
Always nice to have different guys on different nights step up and be the star.
It is. We talk about it all the time. It's really tough to game plan for a group when they've got 3 or 4 guys that can go out on any night and get 18 or 20. It's tough to game plan for that.
4 in double figures tonight.
Yeah. And so, if it's, we talk about it, it's like, defensively, if they put all their eggs in one basket, then we're going to look at the different basket, that kind of stuff. And again, it's not, we've been really lucky all season. They've just decided to play basketball, and the kind of the results are working well.
Pendleton Heights snapped a 6-game losing streak with a 66-42 win over Yorktown. It was also Pendleton Heights' first Hoosier Heritage Conference win of the season. Pendleton led 25-0 and 46-10 at the half. They shot 60% from the field, led by junior Cooper Sims, 23 points. He was 8 for 11 from the field. He also had 4 assists and 3 rebounds. Senior Evan Mazingo finished with 14 points and was 5 for 7 from the field. Junior Hayden Fox had 5 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals. And senior Joe Estes had 6 points and 6 rebounds. Junior Ashan Singh finished with 6 points and 5 rebounds. Pendleton is at 8-7 Mississinawa on Tuesday. Yorktown has lost 6 games in a row and is 5-13 on the season. Junior Jabin Barnes had 13 points to lead the Tigers. Junior Connor Rowray had 9 points. Sophomore Mason Trammell and junior Ryan Burkholder had 8 points apiece. Yorktown is at 9-7 Jay County next Saturday. Greenfield Central completed Hoosier Heritage unbeaten for the second straight season. The Cougars have won 20 straight Hoosier Heritage Conference games after a 55-47 win over Delta on Thursday. The 4A number 2 Greenfield Central Cougars are now 16-2 on the season, despite getting a season-low 7 points from All-American Braylon Mullins. Senior Dallas Freeman had 20 points and 8 rebounds. Senior Michael Johnson finished with 14 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and a couple of steals. Greenfield hosts 10-7 Greenwood on Saturday afternoon. Delta is 11-5 and hosts 8-7 Mississinawa on Saturday at 12:30. Junior Stephen Akase won it at the buzzer And Tippecanoe Valley beat Western 47-45 on Thursday. It's Western's fourth loss in 5 games. 3 of them have been by a basket or less or in overtime. Western is now 10-8 on the year. They were led by 18 points from junior Carter Biggs and 12 from senior Hudson Biggs. Western is at 11-4 Oak Hill on Tuesday. Senior Ian Cooksey led Valley with 18 points. Akase scored 16. I spoke with Western head coach Cam Bennington about another heartbreaking loss on Thursday evening. Coach Bennington, this has been such a great season for your team, but at this point, you got to be scratching your head thinking what could have been. So many close losses. Can this benefit your team in the end?
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to if we're going to accomplish our goals and kind of live by our mottos of being fearless and the just process oriented and things we talk about every day. You know, part of the process is adversity, and we talked about that in the locker room after the game, and being able to respond to adversity and learning from it is a key part in becoming a successful team and successful program. So, we don't have a choice other than to learn from it. But like you said, it's tough pill to swallow when you say we're 10-8, but we're literally 4 points away from being 13-5.
Yeah.
A 1 point loss to. I mean, and in those 3 games that I'm referring to, they're good teams too. It was 11-1 Taylor that was at full strength. I know they haven't been lately, but they were at full strength, and we lose by 1 in a game we led the whole time. We had McConaughey beat twice, and they're one of the highest scoring teams in the state. And Tippecanoe Valley is 13-4 or whatever, and their Sagarin's really high because they play a ton of great competition and really good. It's
West Lafayette.
Yeah, and then the West Lafayette game you can add to it, and that's a 4 or 5 point loss that we led with 3 minutes to go in the game.
Right.
And that's, so if you want to throw that one to it, now you're saying you could have been 14-4 at this point in time. So yeah, I mean, sure, we're scratching our heads saying what could have been, but at the end of the day, if we learn from it and get better from it, I think it's all worth it. And that was the message after the game tonight is, I would rather lose these games now and learn from it and win in the sectional because of it than be 14-4 with no learning moments and then get beaten one of these close games come March. So, as long as we learn from it and benefit from it here in a couple weeks, then we'll live with it. But yeah, they are tough pills to swallow and makes for some long drives home.
The truth is, you could be playing teams not quite on the level of McConaughey and Taylor, and be 14-3 right now, and not be the better for it. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think that our wins, we have a lot of quality wins. Like we've only had 1 game so far to this point where you could probably go back and just roll the ball out and we would win it again.
Right.
We've got a tough schedule, and we're in the toughest part of our schedule. I told him that the other day in film. I said, fellas, this is the hardest 5-game stretch of our season. We can play really, really, really good basketball and go 0-5 in this stretch. So every possession and every detail matters. And that's kind of held true, and it's bitten us a couple times. But like we said, it's a process. We're going to stay process oriented. We're going to hopefully learn from it and be better because of it.
And it's a good thing your next one's an easy one too, right?
Yeah, a real easy one. That's we get followed up by going on the road to Oak Hill to play, against one of the best coaches in the area and probably in the state, and Coach Renbarger. And, I haven't seen all the sophomores in the state, but I'm going to say Jace Tonigal is probably one of the best, if not up there in contention for it. At their place. So again, we got 3 days to get ready for a really freaking good team again. So it's the same thing. We could play really, really well on Tuesday night and still get beat. So, we're frustrated and upset by the losses, but trying to just stay focused on the process and use it to get better.
Speaking of great coaches, you got to face one tonight, a legend in Joe Luce, a guy I was lucky enough to cover for a few years at Jeffersonville.
Yeah, Coach Luce does an awesome job, and he ran a nice little set to win the game tonight at the buzzer. We led by 3 with less than a minute to go, and then they hit a 3. We turn it over, and they hold for the final shot, and he drew up a beautiful play, and they scored at the buzzer to beat us. And I kind of walked out and said, I should have known better against a coach like him that he was going to have something for the very end. With how much basketball he's seen. But it's hard to pull one over on him. It's hard to confuse him. He's seen it all. He's done it all, and he's won a lot of games. And he's not only a good coach, he's a good guy. And I enjoyed getting to talk to him and visit with him tonight.
Yeah, he's got a nice team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Class A number 5 Clinton Prairie beat 2A number 13 Taylor. 49-47 at Taylor on Thursday. The Gophers essentially eliminated Taylor from the Hoosier Heartland Conference race and stayed in the conference race themselves. The Gophers are now 15-2 on the season, 5-1 in conference, and have won 7 games in a row. They host 12-5 Rossville in another big conference game next Friday after 4 straight games on the road. Taylor is at 8-8 Frankton Saturday at 1:30. Sheridan beat Indianapolis Heron 80-42, and the Blackhawks are now 13-4 on the season. Senior Damon Winston had a huge night with 26 points, 13 rebounds, 6 of them on the offensive end, 5 steals, and 4 assists. Sophomore Trey Page had 23 points, and senior Caleb Wright finished with 12 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists, and became the program's all-time leader in assists with 328. Sheridan also has a big HHC game coming up next Friday at 13-3 Carroll. Heron is 2-18 and has lost 8 straight games. They got 13 points apiece from juniors Jaden Parker and Eli Smith. Westdell beat Eastern 61-43. Westdell is now 7-9 and hosts 5-9 Madison Grant on Saturday at 2:30. Eastern is 6-9 and also plays at 2:30 on Saturday against 7-8 Northfield at home. In the Mideastern Conference, Randolph Southern beat Daleville 61-49. Randolph Southern ended a 4-game losing streak with the win and is now 5-8. Daleville is 4-10 and hosts 9-10 Seton Catholic Saturday at 2:30. And Josiah Ball made a go-ahead basket with 10 seconds left, and Mechanicawa beat Northwestern 58-56 for a big Three Rivers Conference win for the Braves. Mechanicawa is now 12-4, 5-0 in the conference. Senior A.J. Kelly had 19 points, 4 rebounds, 4 steals, and 2 assists. Senior Devin Murray had 17 points. Ball finished with 12. And senior Fuddy Kyle finished with 10 points, going 2 for 3 from the three-point line with 11 rebounds and 3 steals. Mechanicawa has a big game on Tuesday when it goes to 13-3 Carroll. Northwestern is 10-6, 6-2 in the Three Rivers Conference. They're at 4-13 Whitco next Friday. Eastbrook at Bluffton was postponed. No makeup date has yet been announced. Of course, big Saturday afternoon of high school basketball. We will have all the results for you on Sunday. Also Friday night, semifinals of the girls basketball sectionals. Sometime on Saturday, I will have a full and complete scoreboard for you on those games. Thank you for listening. Always appreciate it. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love